G'day. Welcome back to the Shit Dad podcast, where we hear fatherhood experiences through the eyes of average Aussie blokes. I'm Nick, father of 2 boys and a girl, married 6 years and an unofficial toddler's personal shopper and chef.
G'day, I'm Cam, father to a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I'm an expert in walking very, very slowly.
Last episode, we chatted to Rick. We learned that an elite mindset for training and competing is adaptable to everyday life. But we also, more importantly, learn not to rip out a carpet from under your kids' feet because you could possibly break their arm. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it as much as we did. And just so you know, just from last week, we have teamed up with Smashing Fibers as our major sponsor. So if you're enjoying the Shit Daddery, press follow on wherever you listen to your podcasts, and we'll keep the steam train full of used nappies rolling. We're always open to feedback, suggestions and Shit Dad stories, so send your stories and jokes through to shitdadpod@gmail.com. When you buy something with Smashing Fibers apparel, make sure you use ShipShitFree at checkout for free shipping. Also, best Shit Dad story or dad joke every week gets a $25 gift voucher for Smashing Fibers, which will go a long way with those guys. Right, Cam.
Let's get stuck in, mate. How you been?
Awesome. Ready to go.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Good.
Yeah?
I was going to say, when we talk about those dad jokes, feel free, fellas, to send in the ones that you've created yourself, because I've got a couple of guys, and Adam being one of them, who has, not shied away from creating his own dad jokes. I feel like that's next level. So send them through.
That's right up there. And what's the email again, Cam?
shitdadpod@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah. And what's our Instagram account?
Shitdadpod.
Well, that's just about covered it all, hasn't it? Right. So I want to start the episode today with a dad stuff quote that I want to start bringing in, because I think there's some pretty cool stuff around, and I steal heaps of stuff off Instagram. So I thought I'd share this with you. The best way to hang up on someone is to do it in the middle of your own sentence, and that way you'll think you've just lost service. Dad advice.
Nice.
How good is that? Today we're talking to Ben, a father of 3 boys, or the wolf pack, and a stepdad to 3 more. How's it going, Benny?
Very well, thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Tell us about yourself.
Oh, well, I'm a professional firefighter, such as yourself. I been in the job 20 years. I, as you said, am a proud father of 3 young boys, and also the stepfather to 3 other wonderful children.
Oh my gosh, that sounds extreme.
6.
Now, I just thought we'd let you know straight away. I know you're a big fan of Joe Rogan. We're not Joe Rogan. All right, we're very relaxed here, and we're just gonna have a quick chat. We really wanted to have a chat to you today because basically I find your story about keeping your kids or having a relationship with your kids after what you've been through as just phenomenal. So I really wanted to get you on so that other blokes in the similar situations know that it's not the end of the world. You can still have a relationship with your kids. You've built trust and a strong relationship with your wife's kids too, which is amazing. We just want as much dad advice as we can possibly get.
Yeah, look, I really appreciate the opportunity. It's a crazy roller coaster. The whole situation from start to finish, from having kids, getting married the first time, and then it's that hyperdrive to now. Like you look back on it, retrospectively, and there's a million lessons in there, absolute million lessons, and I'm glad I've got the opportunity to impart some of those on to everybody.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. We're really looking forward to hearing some stories. I want to start the day with a bad dad advice, a new segment that me and Cam have just cooked up. This is what you can also send into our email and Instagram. So we want your problems. We're going to start with our own problems, but we're just going to give absolutely awful advice to fix it. It could work. You never know, but we thought we'd just do something to get a little bit of a chuckle, mostly for ourselves. Yeah. So I'm going to start, if you don't mind. I cook dinner almost every night for my boys my kids. I keep saying that. She's 2 years old, my third. I cook dinner every night for my kids.
# daddy dinners.
Daddy dinners, yeah. I follow. If anyone follows me on Instagram, I do daddy dinners on my stories.
There's some pearlers in there.
Yeah.
Don't mind a cook. It's good. It's a good way to escape parenting as well. So that was the main reason behind it. But yeah, you cook. You could spend up to an hour in the kitchen cooking a daddy dinner. They touch about a spoonful of it, and you and the missus are sitting back going, "Oh no, it's a good feed."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, very kid friendly though, and they just won't touch it. Yet you take them upstairs for a bath, and they'll drink their piss-filled bath water. No dramas at all.
Every night.
It's pretty much every night.
Junkies.
Like junkies. Nom, 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 nom.
How many times I told you?
Right, so I need some bad dad advice, Cam. What do you got for me?
Well, it's a simple solution for that. Just piss in their dinner.
Holy Jesus.
Jeez, and crackers.
He's
Well, they seem to like the taste.
Yeah, well, that's it. What do you got, Benny?
Oh, mate, for that, not eating their dinner, you've got to sort of, I think you've got to be the clandestine veggie hider, mate. You know, you got to get in there and just a bit of razzle dazzle and hide it. But I don't think I can beat pissing their dinner.
What if I met you halfway? I was like, gave him a glass of warm or tepid soapy water with their dinner instead of water and said, I'll give you normal water when you're finished.
Yes.
You reckon that could possibly work, eh?
Yeah.
Right. What do you got?
Do you do the old smother and everything in tomato sauce?
Nah.
It'll ruin the daddy dinner.
Yeah, exactly. I cooked an hour for that. Absolute gem.
She's a domestic goddess.
Yeah.
Ruin it.
I'll make someone a good wife someday. What do you got, Cam?
All right. So my daughter has started doing this thing where we'll put her to bed at night and she refuses to go to sleep. So we kind of fell into a bad habit where I was just kind of laying on the floor in her room, just kind of waiting for her to go to sleep, whip out the old phone and have a scroll and just kind of sit there. And sometimes that can be half an hour.
Sounds relaxing.
Depending on the night. Well, I don't actually mind lying down uninterrupted for a little while. But, what should we do? How do we get her just to let us leave the room?
Pissing her dinner. I don't know. That's a tough one. I usually, because our 2-year-olds are pretty much the same. She takes forever to get down. So we have just started picking her up, not talking, jamming her back in her bed, walking away, doing that about 30 times. It works eventually, but yeah, I got
Cold
nothing
turkey.
for you.
Yep.
It's like, I've heard this one before, it's like parenting jiu-jitsu.
Oh,
You've got to set yourself up, like unraveling a present, but you've got to set yourself up so that as you're moving away, you can sort of slide yourself out and get away without them knowing, or you put a decoy in.
Yes.
Decoys.
Yes.
Gotta
I've
go
seen the
decoys.
things
Get a cat.
online. Oh, yeah. What, sit on the
Decoy
end of
cat.
the bed?
Just a decoy cat.
a decoy cat.
The warmth, the purring, a little bit of movement. Get out.
Get out of there.
I've seen the things online where it's someone fills a glove full of warm water and puts it on the back so they think there's a hand there. I've never tried that one.
It's all fun and games till the decoy cat claws it and then water goes everywhere.
I'd like to redact that from the...
I got another one. Actually, Benny, what do you got?
Where do we start? Look, 6 kids, 6 school bags, tiny hallway, and we were diligent and we got ourselves a bag rack and we put the bag rack in the kids' room. Do the bags go on the bag rack?
Nah.
No,
bugger.
it's like Ninja Warrior from the front door to the kitchen. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, I've threatened so many things to throw them in the bin, all that sort of stuff. Like, if I see this on the ground again, it's going in the bin. Like that. And they're like, you won't.
Whatever.
Yeah, you
won't.
So, look, I think that's my biggest hassle at the moment.
I might have a solution for you there.
Yeah.
Fill them all with bricks. So when they pick them up, they're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, you know what? They'd probably all work together then. They'd just make a wall and keep us out.
All right. What about when you've got 3 boys, so you know how brutal they can be with each other.
Oh, yeah.
But then when you finally crack and it, you crack and you lose it and you're all stressed out and then all of a sudden they're best mates again and you're still steaming out of your ears. That's my problem. What do you got for it?
Oh, wow. So they band back together.
Yeah.
And then on the attack again.
We were talking decoys before. This is like their decoy just because they would love seeing me pissed off.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Good on them.
Yeah, I'm not angry. I'm proud, but it's
You might just have
after
to
I'm angry.
pit them against
sure
each
you're
other
not-
again.
Are you sure you're not reading them The Art of War before bed? Because that is some serious tactic.
Like the other day, they were full on punches, like blows, and like as soon as one would walk away, the other one would just bash him on the back, like fully blown punch in the back, and he'd just go down like a sack of shit, and then he'd get back up and run up and swing a massive kick at him. It was like full on, and then I've like finally just blown up and been like, no, fucking stop now. And then I was like steam coming out of the ears, stress. I'd thrown an extra few greys in the hair, and then they were just like, they just both started laughing and running away, and I was like, you dogs.
That is
What has just happened to me?
You've united them.
They're gangsters. They are Griffin gangsters. They're cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded.
Look, I'm going to revert back to the expert in the household, and she is an expert in her field, my wife. She would probably play them at their own game, and I'd say put the tears on. Oh, and you know the whole excuse me,
Dad tears are the worst tears.
Dad tears are. Don't get me started. I got some stories on dad tears. I would pull that card. And you know what? I'd go for the youngest, and I'd go, Dad's very sad, and then just shoot that sly look over, like, what are you going to do now, boys?
Make them feel real bad. Yeah.
That's the idea right there. Yeah. It's happening.
Okay, well let's get stuck into the first bit of the segment. So,
What about the alcohol?
okay.
Oh yeah, that's Cam's dry.
Yeah.
He's not drinking.
I'm doing dry. What is it? August,
Yeah, I don't
September,
know.
whatever it is right
Try
now.
21.
Dry moment in time.
Can't participate right now, but it looks pretty good. So we got a Brookvale Union ginger beer. Bit of a an old faithful, I think, for ginger beers.
Can't have two gingers in the house like we did the other week.
There's a homage to you, Nick.
So
Right.
give it a crack
I'll
and
take it.
tell us what you think.
Okay. That's refreshing.
It's the nectar of the gods.
Oh, that's got a blatant jert at the aftertaste. I like it.
Bright and invigorating.
That's a keeper. Yes. Well done, Ben. Good choice.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you guys sip away at that. We'll get stuck in. So, Ben, wanted to ask you, before you had 6 kids, going all the way back to the first year. So you mentioned you've been through a few things. Wanted to know initially what was the biggest challenge of having kids?
For me, you have those stages in life, and there's a bit of lag time between those stages. You leave school, get a job, get a permanent girlfriend, then you have kids and things like that. And I was, at the time that we had our first, I was transitioning that lag time. So I went from living in a house with 2 other firefighters and, having parties every weekend, and then having our first unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And
You've already gone one up on Rick from last week. It wasn't an accident. It was unexpected.
I may have done some research on that. And so I got to pay homage to my mum, because she always raised us to take it in your stride, and no problem isn't, you can't solve it without a bit of forethought and just nutting away at it. And pardon the pun. And so the first sort of year, because the boy's mum had a cesarean, the weirdest thing was going to the hospital, and this might sound strange, but going to the hospital and then that coming home the next day or a few days later, and life is completely different. It's like going into a portal. You go in there and you come out, and now you've got this little guy, and you're like, you start to question everything, your ability on everything.
Yeah.
Your own ability to walk when you're holding it, your own ability to use your hands, your dexterity to not break something or squash it or whatever, and then it's that learning process all over again, and I'm not the biggest reader around, and then sitting and reading and trying to figure things out, and where's the manual for this, and what do you do when this happens, and things like that. So absolutely loved it. Still love it now, but it was such a strange challenge because when he was born, because it was a cesarean, his mum was still down and she had a few complications. So she was probably, I think, 4 hours down in post surgery.
Right.
And I can still remember sitting there, and I've got him this little bundle, and he's looking up at me, and my mum comes in, and we've got an affectionate nickname for my mum, the battle axe. Because there's a few stories about mum. She's a lovely lady, but like a little Ewok, but she's very wise, And she said,
It's like Gimli from Lord of the Rings.
yeah, she is. She's salt of the earth, and she comes into the room and like just it's talking about dad cries. Like it's an emotion filled time of your life, and as blokes we tend to keep everything in.
Yeah.
And I cried with every single one of them. Every single one of them I cried at a different point. And mum walks in the room. As soon as I saw her, I started crying. And so then he started crying, and I didn't know what to do. Like I was like, whoa, like that. And she goes, love, just stick your little finger in his mouth. And like my little finger.
Like the average bloke's thumb.
Yeah. I said, really? I said, what about the germs? And she just scoffed at me. She's like, oh, you idiot. Like that. So I stick my little finger, and he's suckling on the end of my finger, and I'm thinking, pretty sure I read somewhere you're not meant to do this. Welcome to germs.
You just start them early.
Just those little things. And the first time getting him home, and the first night he was there, he's in the bassinet next to the bed, and their mum had that traditional bassinets, old school looking one. And I was up all night, like just listening.
Yes.
Making sure they're breathing.
Yeah.
And I would lean into the bassinet and I'd go, when I couldn't hear what he was doing, I was like, breathe on him. And he'd be like, like that. And I was like,
Oh, thank God.
this scissor's a real thing. So yeah, that was it. And then it just trundled on from there. And as he got older, and because of the 4 on, 4 off shifts that we do, and their mum, she worked 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You'd be left at home, and I will never forget the first day I was left at home, and the fear. It was fear. It was pure fear. And you just sit there, and like there, you can hear them behind you. It's like the Kraken, and then you're like, mum's leaving at kindy for the first time, and you're there, and you're like, oh, and then the door closes, and you're there, and you're like, all right, there's a routine. What was the routine again? Look at the list. Routine again?
Get the battle axe on the phone.
Yeah, that's
Talk
it.
me through
Straight
it.
away, mum, get over. Hey, mum, you want to come round for a coffee? Like that. Oh, sure, love. Like that. So there's a bit of that for the first few weeks, but it's just that bonding time. It's just lovely to have them there, and the smell of them and the things like that. So. Oh, I'd do it again. I'd definitely do it again.
Jesus.
Not now. But like if I had my time back, I do get a bit. To be honest. Like you see, but I don't believe that. It's because you can give them back.
That's right.
Subconsciously, that just goes back. I'm not going to have to pay that anymore. Don't have to look after it.
You never have to change a shitty nappy again.
Oh, those that's like PTSD 101. There are some stories with this. Can I tell a story?
Go for it.
Can I tell this story?
Yep. We're talking about challenges.
So first year, right? And the boy's mum and I, we started getting to that point where he is now in his own room and getting up of his own accord.
Yep.
And the routine is starting to be more autonomous and judged by him and how he does things now, little man. And he decided they start taking their own nappy off.
Yeah.
And this one morning, it was a summer, and I've gone into his room, and I could hear the giggling, and you're like, oh, he's waking up, You hear the giggling, and you're like, oh, we just finished our coffees and finished our chat, and he's giggling away, and then you'd hear a bit of thud and thump and rattling the edge of the cot. And we went in there, and I opened the door first. And it was like a SEAL team going in a room assault, and the smell that hit us, It's like thick. You can taste it. And he's in there, and he looked like on Predator when he covered himself in mud. He covered himself in mud to get away from Predator. That's how he looked. And he's looking at us, and he was almost insulted that we weren't thoroughly impressed with what he'd done, how he'd smeared it on the walls, smeared it all over himself. And to add style to it, he'd slung his shit-filled nappy over one shoulder and was holding it
like a Huckleberry Finn.
Huckleberry Finn.
Oh my God. Yep. All right. Fair enough. That's bad PTSD.
That was a fuck up. I just nudged the.
It was good though. Good segue.
Yeah, right.
Like I said, I'll go on a tangent.
Okay.
That's our secret sound now.
Yeah. Abort.
So the biggest challenge, going from that, that pre-world of not really having any idea, but kind of just getting kind of stuck into that, and getting advice where you can, obviously, from your mum, and
that's the best way to go with it. You don't do a course beforehand, and they certainly don't give you a manual, and I think that's you learn as you go, and you take advice and trial and error, I guess. Yep.
And how did your relationship change with your partner, and then when other kids came along as well?
I had a lot of anxiety going from 1 to 2, and I think that's fairly common.
Yeah,
because you've built such a bond with the first one. And I remember asking some of the older guys at work, I go, like, is your love the same? Like, do you still? Is it equal? Is there a favourite? And when I think about it, when you sort of deep dive on it, I think it's a different. You love them all the same, but there are different elements about them that sort of come forward a bit more, especially when you have multiple. Yeah, there's attributes in that person that you go, wow, they do that really well, or they do this, and you love them all the same, but it is hard, and I did worry about that going from 1 to 2. 2 to 3, and then that really hard one where you become a step parent to someone else's kids, and what's that love like? How does that look? And it's a different love, but it's very much the same at the same time. Like you're still their sort of parent and their role model, but that's the role you take is more of a role model. But no, they're 3 little robust men. They can be hard work.
Yeah, that's interesting because we often talk about, or at least going from the first to the second. But I guess with each one, we definitely would change dynamics, and like you said, things that you do and maybe don't like about about them as well.
Did it affect your relationship with their mum? Like each kid you had?
In all honesty, the relationship was never, a great relationship, but it definitely put strain on. All relationships, children put strain on it. And I think kids are the best way to identify the shortcomings of your relationship. They will always expose. It's like, when they test you, in the army, you see on those TV shows, and they try to break you. And who snaps first, and who this and that.
It's just like we were talking about in bad advice.
Yeah, it does.
they work against you.
They do. They will circle the wagons around you, and they'll bring out the worst in you. They'll turn you against each other. They will, and you see that now with them. Where they learn that from? I want to know. Is anybody studying that? Is there a study anywhere, a peer-reviewed study into how children innately figure out tactics like that?
We trademark that. Yeah. We're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing a study.
We're getting rich. Oprah rich.
Yeah.
And thinking about, partner, family life, work, all those types of things when it's all fresh and new, how did you cope with, working? Were you a hands-on dad or worker?
Very much so. So I was the hands-on dad, and Nick, he can relate to this, where you've got that 4 on, 4 off. Well, really it's 6 on, off, because you're not on the days, you're not working the days of your night shift. So, and then your partner's off working, and almost the gender roles change. And that for us was big. That was the catalyst, one of the catalysts for that happening. So, I was sort of the domestic goddess at home. I did all the cooking, the cleaning, all the caring. I was down the park and, doing all sorts of things, always playing. And we really, and I think now, looking back, that has served me greatly in the relationship I have with the boys now. Yep. As that foundation that was built there, in having them a lot of the time, has really cemented the relationship we have. Yeah. And that's not to say that parents that work 9 to 5 don't get the same thing, but
it's a different relationship.
It's a different relationship.
And much more time.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. It's environmental, and that's what it is with the little squirts. It's all about the environment they're in.
So, how did you keep the relationship with the boys when it did go south?
That was extremely difficult, because once it did go south, everything was going. Once we separated and then got divorced, I was seeing them on a regular basis, but then that stopped for 2 years, and I didn't see them at all for 2 years. So that, to this point in my 38 years, is the hardest time of my life, because you go from having this attachment to absolutely nothing and having to let go of your kids. Most parents have the luxury of letting go of their kids at 18 or 20 or whenever they leave the nest. And I had to do that when they were babies, really, like 5, 3 and 1. Wow. And how I kept that going throughout that whole time of being away from them is the only thing I could do is reflect back on me, so that when the time came and I did see them again, and not to say throughout that time I wasn't putting things in place and fumbling around trying through the systems to try and see them again, but I actually turned back around and started to identify after, going off the rails a little bit and sort of not, I put on a lot of weight, got into a deep depression, all the natural things that happen. And once you pull yourself out of that and you start to reflect back on yourself and look at where you went wrong and actually be honest with yourself. And I think that's what's missing a lot of the time is being honest with yourself and saying, you know what, I contributed to this. Stop the blaming, and started working on the things I needed to work on, so that when I did eventually get them back, they weren't getting back this damaged wrecked dad. Yeah. They were getting the dad that
shit together.
That stuff's behind you now. Yeah. And that's what happened. I did that and got them back and eventually found them. I had to end up having to go from kindy to kindy and find them. And I found them, and that day is the greatest day ever. I turned up and she looked at me, the lady there, and she said, I've been waiting for you. And I'm going, oh, great, here we go. The cop's going to turn up. And she goes, come in, like that. And I came in and she goes, I knew it was you. I knew who you were as soon as I saw you, because you look just like them.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the middle guy, he's very deep thinker, and he said every day he would come in and he would say, he'll come. And he said that every day he would come in and he'd say, he'll come. My dad will come. He promised. And then he'd turn up, and I remember them coming in and the first thing, and it's his personality to a T. The youngest one comes in, leans on my knee, looks up at me, says, where have you been?
I was going to say, what took you so long?
Where have you been? And I just burst out laughing. It was gold.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and that's him to a T now. Like, he's so dry, and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're talking about now giving the kids the father that they needed.
Yeah.
But there's going to be guys that went through that didn't really know how to cope in those early stages. How did you cope in the early stages? Like you said, you went through a bit of a depression or deep depression and weight gain and stuff, but how did you cope so that you didn't slip further and possibly worse?
Look, everyone is their own person, and the way that all came about is it comes down to you. You got to be 100% honest with yourself, and I guess it comes back to the battle axe, like her wisdom, her guidance. But a lot of the time too, Nick, you listen to a lot of guys at work, and you listen to a lot of people who've gone through it, and you listen to their stories, and it's always a horror show. You never hear, or rarely hear, oh, that divorce was great.
Yeah.
What a hoot that was. Look at us now. And
I'm such a better person for it.
Best thing we ever did. That is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. But I guess, Nick, to answer your question, mate, I listened to what they did, and I did the exact opposite. I didn't go down the drink. I didn't go down the drugs. I ate a lot of Milo cereal and drank a lot of milk. And that's why I got up to about 121 kegs.
But how strong are your bones now?
Oh, mate, the iron. I was like made of adamantium. But I just reflected on it, and I was determined. I love my children, as we all do, and I came from a broken home, and I just decided. I just said, I'm not having that happen again. I'm not going to perpetuate the generational issues in the family. And so I just turned around and went, right, what needs to be fixed? Started with the smallest thing. Like I've got bad dyslexia, so I'm not going to sit down at the computer and rattle off some, 100-page document to take into the court. I couldn't do that. I had to be resourceful. I had to find the people who could help me. I had to, and it's funny along the way, the things that happen, like just the people you meet and the friends you make, and you don't do it alone. You do it with the help of others, and excuse me, and you've got to just be honest with yourself. It's honesty in yourself, and remembering why you're doing it. Put the ego aside. Honesty, and put the ego aside, and focus just on the kids and what they need. And then when you get back and you see them again, and reach out to the resources that are out there. There's plenty out there now. There's plenty of Facebook pages that support dads and mums. It's a double-edged sword. So be resourceful, be honest, put the ego aside, and do it for them.
Imagine that'd be pretty tough for a lot of blokes to start with themselves, to look inward and be critical of themselves and make change, because by the time you're 30, mid-30s, for example, it's very difficult to
set in
change.
Your ways. You're very set in your ways.
For any dads listening that are going through the same thing, like I got something out of that, and I'm not even going through it. Like that's brilliant advice.
I think it's so difficult. It's almost like one of my favourite quotes is, I would say it's in terms of fatherhood. It's my favourite quote. And a father should plant trees with a full knowledge, knowing he won't enjoy the shade of them.
Yeah,
and that's probably the premise I work off. Can I share a bit of a heartstring tough one?
Yeah, please.
So my eldest and I are in the car, and he's starting to get a grasp of what's going on. He's at that age where he's being told from his mum's house, where he spends the majority of his time, all these things about his dad and things like that. The regular stuff that happens. It's not, it is what it is. And he's sitting there, and he's a bit quiet, and he says, I said, "Oh, you all right, mate?" He says, yeah. And I said, "You sure?" He's like, "No." I said, "What's up? You tell me. You can tell me anything." And he goes, "Oh, I don't know if I can say this." And I said, "Mate," and pinky promise, and now I've got it tatted on my ribs. Pinky promise is the absolute, can't break a pinky promise ever.
Yeah.
And I pinky promised him, and he says, "Dad, I don't ever want to be like you, like that." And two things happened simultaneously. It really, it cured his fears, my answer, and it opened my eyes to the next stage of where I needed to do some more work. And I just looked at him and I said, "Good." It just jumped out of my mouth. I just said, "Good." And his little shoulders dropped, you know, when they're tense, and his little shoulders dropped, and he goes, really? And I go, yes, definitely. God, no. I said, but why don't you want to be like Dad? He goes, I don't want to get divorced, and I don't want to be sad like you. And I said, well, good. I said, mate, you are the first step in the road to that not happening, because you know what you want. I said, you're there. And I put my hand on his leg, and I said, but you know what? I said, you be the first version of you, not the next version of me, like that. And he just, from that point on, and I think he was 10 then, and he
That is a cracking quote.
I don't think I can steal it though. I'm pretty sure I heard it somewhere else. Definitely didn't read it, but I heard it. But yeah, so and it's moments like that.
Yeah.
It's key moments, and you've got to. My God, I'm not the expert or anything, but I've learnt so much, and I don't regret any of it. I don't regret any of it happening. The worst of the worst to the best of the best. It's made me a better person now, and in my relationship now with my wife and my stepkids, no way in the world, because I've been where I am now without going through all that. Yep. So it's very tough, and I think there needs to be more emphasis on guys getting together and having a chat, not even in a formal setting, just a chat, talk to each other, bounce things off each other, and get together and just even I remember how many coffee dates that we have where
Weekly,
I would
mate.
vent on you. And you need that.
Yeah.
More than happy to do it. I will actually add something to that though. There is a Facebook page that I've recently stumbled across. They're a group all over Australia, I think, but I joined the Queensland one, and it's Grab Life by the Balls. So if anyone is struggling or needs something like an outlet, they get together regularly. They just put up, if they've got reps all around the state, and they will put on the site, yep, we're going to be at this place at this time.
Yeah.
Come and have a chat.
Yep.
They don't drink alcohol. They just go have a burger and a milkshake or whatever.
Yeah.
And you just sit around a table and you just talk to the guy next to you.
Yeah.
Grab Life by the Balls.
Yeah.
Follow their page.
Fantastic.
But yeah, so Benny, you are probably one of the most positive blokes I've ever met. Like, so you've obviously done some work since all that happened. But how do you, what do you do to keep your head clear? What work did you do to keep your head clear and to have such a positive attitude or outlook?
It came down to that, putting the ego aside, and
You still have a bit of an ego.
oh shit, yeah. A healthy one, though.
A healthy ego.
There's egos and then there's egos. You can have that ego where you're willfully blind to your own faults.
Yeah.
But it's very much like everybody. If you sat down and talked to the people like my wife and things like that, they see behind the green curtain, like on the Wizard of Oz. The Emerald City wasn't really as good as what was made out, and that's like everybody. But getting out and learning how you work as a human being, getting to know yourself as a human being, away from being a firefighter, being a dad, being a partner. Who's Ben? Who's Nick? Who's Cam? Who are these people? Who are you? Who's the person in the mirror? And being comfortable with that.
It's a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah. And accepting yourself for who you are, as I've made mistakes, I've hurt people's feelings, I've done this, I've done that. And to quote Jordan Peterson, a good man is not someone who isn't capable of tyranny. A good man is someone who is capable of tyranny but chooses not to.
Yeah.
And you've got to be 100% honest with yourself that there's two sides here. You can go down one path and get another path of doing the right thing, but it's there. And when you try to convince yourself it's not there, and you can make mistakes. That's why I love this podcast, the Shit Dads. You make mistakes, you do, and you're not perfect, but that imperfection's what makes you who you are, and as a parent and as an individual. So I just started to learn to change the thought pattern and the inner voice that you have, that negative self-talk you have. And there was a time there was like, I don't have negative self-talk. I don't talk negative about myself. But then you start to notice it, and it's not always like, oh, Ben, you're bad, or Ben, you did that shit. It's thought patterns, and then you change. You like building a new road. You build a new thought pattern in your head, rather than going to the negative. You go to the positive. It's like I teach the boys. I can't do that. You don't say we're not allowed to say you can't. You're either having trouble, or you do or you don't. You don't do it. You do it.
Can't is dangerously close to the C-bomb, and you don't want your kids saying that. How do you keep your kids happy though? Like you're just talking about doing your own self-reflection and that, but you've got to somehow put that on your kids as well, because you don't like you said before, you knew that your kid was unhappy, but you had to sort of get it out of him that he was unhappy. Like how do you make them, not make them happy, but how do you sort of impart that positivity on them? And
so it pretty much ties into what I was saying. You walk the talk, and he knew he could tell, and go back to the battle axe.
Yeah.
Mum created an environment from very, very small children that we could tell her anything. And by God, we did. As teenagers, we tell her things, and people would say, you tell that to your mum? And I go, oh, don't you? And it was that environment. I that safe place.
Yeah.
You can tell me anything. Pinky promise. It's okay. And they do. And he did, and I'm proud of him for doing it, because he was coming from an environment, in his other house where he couldn't say anything. He had to keep his mouth shut. So he did that. And I think it's the way you act as well. I believe through my experience that you need to be selfish to a point as a parent to be able to give your best. And I'll listen to all the episodes and of you guys and can totally relate to that tiredness, that exhaustion. Your partner's frustrated.
And everyone's had an element of selfish about them, but they've been too sort of standoffish to say that I've been too selfish, until last week when Rick said, I'm actually selfish in that way.
Yeah.
Well, that's what makes him who he is.
Yeah.
That's what got him there. He had to put his desire to do one thing ahead of his desire to become something else. And you've got to do that so that you're the best for them, You imagine you've got to have that little bit of time on your own to deload at the end of the day after work. And then once you've deloaded, you get in there and you go, hey, and you can have a bit of a play, and they see that rather than you going in and grunting at them and going, why is that on the floor and why is this, and they learn that habit. Monkey see, monkey do.
It's easier for kids to copy what you do than to listen to you and learn something.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
I can see what
and
you're saying
they
there,
will follow in your footsteps and self-regulation and those sorts of things.
So what about those days that you don't get to desensitize after work, and it's all sort of just compounded over the day, and you come home and you're like, nah, fuck it, I don't want to be here. It's all too much. How do you deal with that? Because it's happened to all of us. Well, whether people want to say it or not.
Yeah, and that's where you grab that by both hands and you accept it, and that's where it comes back to you accept who you are, you accept your environment, you accept your choices, and you've had a big day. Now you show that to them on their level. You show it to your wife on a different level, but you show it to your kids on a different level. And you sit down and they want to play, and you sit and this is what I used to do. You sit them down and you just say, oh, I am so tired. I had such a big day today. Such a big day. You know what? I'm not feeling 100%, not super happy, but you know what? How about Dad just sits here for a little bit, and Dad's going to go out the back and tinker in the shed, and then I'm going to come back in here and we're going to sit down and have dinner and we're going to talk about a day. And you just explain that I just need some me time right now. Where does that come? Where do you get dividends from that? Is when they're having a blow up. You remind them and you say, hey,
do you need that bit of time?
Do you need a bit of time? Go and have a bit of time, because
You've done it, and you've shown it works.
You go, hey, this is what I need to do. Remember what I do when I feel like this? Maybe you need to go and do that. And they'll go, no, I don't want to do that. You're dumb. And then you go, well, you know
Sounds
what?
so real.
Yeah. It's like it just happened.
This happened half an hour ago.
Yeah. And I was throwing the tantrum. Look, it might not work for everybody, but I guess I'm a raw parent.
Yeah.
I show everything to be able to go, okay, Dad's had a bad day. Dad had a bad job at work. Dad's a bit sad. How do you fix that? Let's show them how to fix it. This is how I fix it. This is what I do.
Yeah. Love that.
All right. Well, that's been awesome to run through. I wanted to ask a few questions around dad bod. You've spoken about moving on from your Milo cereal stage. Is that still your cheat meal?
Look, I don't touch it anymore. It's like a drug. I used to punch a whole box into myself, the big family size box, into myself in a mixing bowl, because I had no money.
Yeah.
So, on the bones of my ass, and I used to punch that into me, and I used to sit there, and that was just...
That's your daily calories, I guess.
Yeah, that was bliss.
Yeah.
Something like 2,800 calories in one punch.
Outstanding.
And I was packing it on. It was awesome.
So you don't want to go back to that?
No, don't want to go back to that one.
How do you keep fit at the moment?
I think it's just the gym. I got into cycling. I'm not built for cycling, but I got into cycling, and I actually find that quite therapeutic. I'm not mad into it like everybody else where they're buying $1 trillion worth of gear. I just have the basics and like to ride, and you get that time to think, so I do that.
Can't help but feel that was a dig at me.
No, it's not. It's more a dig at my brother. Him and his $15,000 bike.
He's got the good gear.
A bit of that.
Yeah.
I guess I mix it up. There's no real... It's whatever I feel like doing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't feel like doing it, you're not going to do it. Like I went and trained with Nick recently. Really enjoyed that. That's a good little spot down there. And I just generally do my own thing.
Where was it, Benny?
Are we plugging?
Yeah, plug him.
That's Fitstop at Northlakes. What a spot.
Good plug.
Great people down there, and really, really enjoyed it. It's a good system they've got going, good push. So, yeah, loved it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, look, I just do whatever I can.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of slacking off now. I'm actually embracing the dad bod now.
Yeah.
I do like having a bit extra, bit of padding, bit of weight behind the... I don't really care that much anymore. Like once upon a time, I was quite vain. Still am, but
It's a healthy ego.
Yeah, it's a healthy ego. Yeah.
I imagine you'd be pretty active with boys. Like they'd want to be out and kicking footies and outside a lot.
We're always on having adventure time. We're always out climbing and hiking and adventuring, and we do once annually. We have the Dark Night Adventure. So they go out into the dark forest, literally, and they have to do a challenge in the dark, and it sort of comes from the Knights of the Round Table and Merlin. They all sat at a round table because they were all perceived to be equal to each other. Mm-hmm. And they were searching for the Holy Grail, and no one knew where the Holy Grail was. And then it's like, where do you look? Where do you start looking? And Merlin said, you start looking at the darkest part of the forest to you. And so we were reading about that, and they're like, oh, we should do that. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's do it. I said, you won't go in the dark forest. And it started off with just the boys, and so we went off up to Beerburrum into the pine forest, and I just found the darkest spot I could find, no torches or anything like that. And their little knees are knocking, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're getting out of the car. I'm not even afraid of nothing. Oh, yeah. And they're all like, oh, full of gusto with all the lights on the car, like, oh, yeah, can't wait to get out. Oh, these are... Oh,
deeper voice than usual.
Yeah. You scared, Rocco? You look scared. They're pulling that one.
Who can be the most alpha?
Yeah.
As soon as you get out of the car, it's...
Yeah. Beating their chest. And then as soon as the car lights went off and the door opened, you wouldn't hear the church mouse. And I was like, geez, it's dark out there. Like that. And they was like, oh, but Dad, I think we better go home. I think we better go. No, it's all good, Dad. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And I was so proud of them. They ended up And Rocco, the youngest again, he's about 2 foot tall, but you'd think he's 20 foot tall, and he just struts out of the car. And mind you, I forgot this bit. He's dressed in full camo, full assault team, everything. Steps out of the car and he goes, "What are you waiting for?" Like that. And off he goes. And I was thinking to myself, "This is a bit dark out there." And off we went. And we just do things like that. We're always out, always active, kicking the footy. We play Release the Hounds.
Yeah, I stole that one from you too.
Yeah, that honestly, that came to fruition because they were coming. So I only have them 14% of the time. Yeah. And that's why I always hashtag 14% whenever we're out doing something, because I've had 14% of the overall year of 365 days to keep this bond and relationship I have with the boys. And I think I've been pretty successful with it. But they'd come over and boys are boys, and they would be at each other. Like, it's like a bad kung fu movie. No one's actually landing anything, but they're like air swinging, side kicks, screaming at each other. And I thought, you know what? Stuff it. Let's get stuck in. And I thought, we'll see how this goes. And so I'll stand back. 2 of them stand with me. I'll kick it. And, from The Simpsons, when Mr. Burns goes, "Release the hounds," like that. And I go, like that. And they just nail each other. And by the end, they're all kicking and screaming and fighting, and all these other parents are mortified.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, and they're horrified. And then I've got a drone, and then we've got aerial shots of it. And
But they're getting it out of their system.
yeah, they're getting it out of the system. And then by the end of it, they're picking each other up off the ground, and we're back in the car. We have the tradition of chocky milks. Every time we do something hard or strenuous, it's chocky milks after.
Yeah.
And have a chocky milk, and Bob's your uncle. It's all good.
I've got to say, Cam, I've watched the Carrigs play Release the Hounds, and remember how all the boys at school used to play footy on the hockey field, and it was pretty physical?
Yep.
It's nothing like that. It's harder.
Oh, really?
Those boys play hard.
And they hate this. The eldest and the youngest are they're athletic, and the middle guy's he's a gamer.
Yep.
But he can play football very well. And he's got a good step, a good mind for it and things like that. And we're not really a mad footy family, but he grins and they hate it. They're so livid by the fact that he can come from playing Fortnite, step out there, catch the ball on the full, step them, palm them, trot down and score. And they're like, "That's it! We're going to kill him!" And they're like banding together like Braveheart. "Kill him! Blood!" There's been a few blood noses.
So good.
All right. Should we move on?
Yeah, definitely. Just a reminder to listeners that we are now powered by Smashing Fibres Apparel. So check them out online and Instagram. Me and Cam are rocking their shirts at the moment. They're bloody unreal. Yep. Mine's a bit tighter than I'd like to admit, but they'll be up on the socials soon.
Tell you what, you've got the rig for it. It's draped over a lovely physique.
I wore mine at the gym on
my big
Friday.
hype guy, Benny. Cheers.
At a PT sesh, and it went, went well. Good.
Yeah, nice.
Feels nice, and my sweatiness.
Cam
didn't go
can
too
sweat
far.
too. So
Yeah.
I feel underdressed, gentlemen. You're looking sharp.
yeah, well, it's very nice material, easy, very comfortable. But if you decide you'd like to walk in our footsteps and look as good as us, go online to their website and order whatever you want, and type in ship shit free at the checkout for free shipping. And just a reminder for the best. I'm not going to call fans. I like the
Shit dads.
Yeah, the best shit dad story, joke, anything you like to send in. Whoever we think is the best of the day, the episode gets a gift voucher for Smashing Fibres as well. So that's a bit of extra money off too. But now, I think we move on to the How Daddy You quiz.
Love it.
Reckon?
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Benny, you've listened to a couple of episodes, so you know how this kind of works.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping you go higher than 5 or 6 like we've been getting. But don't feel the pressure because you're pretty dad, but you're only 14%.
Yeah, 14% dad.
But that means you're going to try harder to be a normal, like a textbook dad. Yeah. So I can see the bum bag on. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
That's the gut from the Milo.
That's the Milo gut. No, I'm joking. Righto, number 1. Do you hate lights being left on?
More than you know.
Yeah, nice. Good start. Do you grunt when you sit down or stand up?
I do.
Yes. Do you say something like, righto, to wrap up a convo or get out of the house?
Certainly. All right then.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm an all right then, man.
All right then, get on with it.
Rightio.
Rightio. Or you just press the champagne like I did before by accident.
Yeah.
So,
Wrap it up.
a little wrap up there. Do you turn off the telly if no one's watching it? Like if the boys walk out of the room and you just walk in and go, "Are you fucking kidding me? Why is this still on?"
Sure. And then rant.
And you got to get on them.
Strut out.
Yeah,
Strut
puff
out.
the chest out.
I tell you what, there's a.
Do you think money's made on trees?
Yeah, what do you think this is? You're here painted on.
You Tommy Edison?
Yeah. There's a bloke on TikTok. He does this great Southern dad. Yeah, I'll have to send it to you. I'll send you the link. It is hilarious. I love it.
We'll put it up on the socials as well because it sounds legit. He was talking about it before. Whenever it's sunny, Ben, do you throw out the day for it?
At work all the time.
Nice.
What a bloody day.
That's a proper fiery saying too. That I don't think I've gone a sunny day without hearing that in the 10 years I've been in.
Yeah.
Do you tuck your shirt into your shorts just casually?
Look, fellas,
tonight,
look, I've got a confession to make. I heard this question, and
Untucked his shirt immediately.
There was a time in my life, and I will admit this, that I used to tuck my polo shirt into my board shorts. Strap that onto you.
That is elite.
Hey?
Bit of pattern on pattern.
But I don't take full blame for that because I had older brothers and they did it.
Nice.
And
No,
we
we'll
were
take
at
it.
Bribey Island. So
Should we allow it?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. What's that? What's he on? 6.
Yeah.
6 from 6. I don't want to jinx this. Do you wear slippers in winter?
oh yeah.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank
I buy
God.
a new
Me
pair
too.
every year.
Yeah, me too. Kmart?
Yeah. But then I
Nice.
lose them and then my feet get too hot and I go, tough.
Yeah, fuck it. Do that. And then you just wear socks with thongs or something.
Yeah.
You get an extra point here if you wear a dressing gown as well. It's okay if you don't because
You know what?
I've
I
never
do
done
have
that.
one. I do have
You have one?
Yeah. And I do wear it in the winter time,
Yeah.
not in the summertime, because it feels like it's made of sandpaper.
Oh, all right. We're going with it.
But like, does it count when you go to a hotel? You throw the gown on?
Do you steal it? Then I'll count it.
I'm not uncouth. But yes, I do steal it.
How dare you?
And the slippers.
And the shampoos and the soap.
Shower cap. Everything.
Whatever's not
TV.
bolted down.
Jeez, you guys go to fancy places.
With your coffee mugs at work, do you ever wash it or do you just rinse it out because that's where all the flavour?
Rinse.
Yeah,
but not
nice.
for the flavour.
No, you just because it's
lazy.
too much effort. Yeah. I'll allow it. And when the boys ask what's for dinner or lunch or something, do you use a variant of
Oh, mate.
shit
I
sandwich
have,
or
I have,
you'd have an arsenal of them?
I've
wouldn't you?
got this one. And this is always, it's always, they actually now repeat it in sync after when I say it. What's for dinner, Dad? Drink of water and look around.
Oh, that's the most dad one we've had yet. Drink of water and look around. I like it. Do you never put the aircon on in the car because the windows do the trick?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll have the aircon on depending either hot or cold, but then I'll adjust the temperature with the windows.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Regulate it.
Yeah.
Nice. You get another extra point here if you do the same thing at home.
With the door.
You have 11 out of...
Too cold in here.
I'm the favourite person in the house because I do that. Like, why don't you just change the temperature? It takes too long. Just ventilate.
This one's just a gimme. Do you admire your lawn after mowing it?
I admire everything after doing it. Like, I cleaned it. I rearranged the garage the other day, and I actually went inside just to get Steph to come out and go, have a look at this. Would you look at it?
You set up your camp chair in the middle of
Would
it
you look
just
at it?
just to
Just
admire
look
it?
at And she's gone, wow, you've taken over the whole garage. I'll just mosey on over to the laundry over here. And I said, how did you even get out of the kitchen?
But the best thing, I did that the other day. You rearranged the garage and you're like, I know where everything is.
Yeah.
Ask me, where's this? I know where it is.
Yeah,
Do you ever have this problem with your little ones? It's like you'll clean. Like I never used to have to buy anything new because I would just get all the old shit and line it up really neat. And they would strut in there and be like, would you look at this, fellas? He's obviously gone to Kmart again and got all the same stuff again, brand new. Let's fuck it up.
That's amazing. Benny, I'm proud to say it's taken 8 episodes, but we've got a 12 out of 10er.
Oh, you're welcome, gentlemen.
He's a
Congratulations.
100%er, 14%er.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
120%,
of the
sorry.
time, every time.
You are full dad.
Do I get a badge for that?
Oh, you should. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's the one to beat.
Let's organise that. Where's our secretary?
Yes.
Organise that badge,
Put
Joyce.
the badge in here. Money penny.
Tight ass tidbit.
All right. Tight ass tidbit for the week. So interesting to hear if anyone's got any. I'll kick off. So I don't know if you've ever taken your kids to one of those trampoline places. They've got, I think there's one at Hendra there. They've got Ninja Warrior style things, trampoline, all that kind of stuff. But it's really great because you get to take the socks home afterwards that they give you. So and if the end of the play session, if there's any extra socks, you can take them home for the kids too. So
Oh, wow.
Just a shout out.
Free socks. Really? You paid $28 for.
They are good socks.
Yeah, I
pretty good.
paid to get in there. I'm taking
You
these
got
socks.
some
home.
slippery floors too, Cam.
I do have a little
they come in
hack.
handy.
I do have a little hack with those socks.
Wait, stand by. Yes.
All right, can I tell the hack now?
We'll allow it.
So you know how you can get adult size socks?
Yeah.
Right. They make excellent gym socks when you're doing like a fit, like a
the cardio
routine.
one.
Right. You put them on inside your shoe, and your foot don't move in the shoe.
That is actually good.
Yeah, and it's great. And then when the kids are whinging and their shoes are too big, it just glues it to the sole of the shoe, and they just trot off happy as Larry.
So maybe we could have a few sessions there. Get 5, go for 5 sessions, and then just start buying the kids a size too big shoes so they get extra time out of it.
Thank God for Kmart.
That's a hack and a half, man. I've got a tight ass tidbit that isn't quite kid related, but I thought you'd enjoy it anyway. I got offered to play a game of touch footy back when I was even bigger than I am now, and I was like, why? When they asked me if I wanted to play, I was like, you've seen me, right?
We need numbers.
This thing, you just stand on the wing, okay? Go stand on the wing. So I didn't have any soccer boots or anything because I'd hung the boots up by then, and I drove to Rebel because I'm not running anywhere, and I drove down to Rebel, grabbed the cheapest pair of boots that I could find. They were even metallic purple. Didn't give a fuck because it was they're $60 and everything else is over $100. And so I grabbed them, tried them on. They weren't great, but I was just like, you know what, they'll do for a couple of games, all good. They worked for that game, that was all good, but they are still to this day the only pair of soccer boots I have. And I'm helping organise this the Fiery soccer team.
Oh yeah.
Played the midweek the friendly game, chucked those old faithfuls on, played 80 minutes or whatever it was, and I came out of it with blisters on the backs of both of my heels, under all my toes, and I couldn't walk the next day because I felt like a bone had been broken in my left foot. So tight ass tidbit was cheapest soccer boots around. It's never going to work.
You pay what you get for. You get what you pay for.
That's it, yeah. So I had to go buy another pair of soccer boots. Now I don't feel as tight as I was.
I've got another one. It's not really a tidbit. Something that I want to do more of, and I think you guys would be pretty similar. Camping. So all sorts of different holidays. Obviously, you can take your kids on. I don't camp for the cheapness of it. I know it's obviously cheaper than going overseas or staying in hotels and things like that. We've spent a few years building up the camping gear, my wife and I, to the point where we've got enough to do a decent amount. And we grew up camping together, Nick and I. It's something that I think it's great for kids to do. So that's my kind of thing I'll continue to kind of chip away at. We're right now in no way going to be camping anytime soon because it's like when you fill the car with all the kids crap, can't fit anything else in.
Yeah.
So, but that's something that's, I'll just keep chipping away, getting little bits of camping gear to the point where eventually we'll be able to do it.
Yeah. Build up a castle off Facebook Marketplace.
Exactly.
All right, dad joke of the day. Righto, Cam, what's the difference between boogers and sprouts?
What?
Kids don't eat sprouts. Hey, Ben,
Yes.
the wife asked me to blow some air on her when she got hot the other day. I don't know, I'm not a fan.
That is gold. Classic.
Cammy.
Classic.
What made the tomato blush?
What?
It's all the salad dressing.
Ridiculous.
And do you want to hear a joke about paper? Never mind. It's terrible.
What do you got, Benny?
Look, this is terrible, but I heard it. A tradie standing there and he's got his step ladder. And he says, "Oh, this is my step ladder. I never knew my real ladder."
Brilliant. Nice. Oh, that's so good. So, Camo, what you got a hack this week?
As mentioned, it's a bit difficult getting the oldest to sleep at the moment.
Yep.
But I found a good hack the other night, something that did work. I just decided to tell the most boring story I could. And she's obsessed, as I mentioned previously, she's obsessed with Beauty and the Beast at the moment. So I decided to say, I'm going to tell you the sequel to Beauty and the Beast. It's about the time that the Beast and Belle painted the castle. And what colour did they paint it? They painted it grey. And different shades of grey. So that she went to sleep pretty quickly.
That is awesome. Almost evil.
Next minute she'll say, I want to watch that movie.
When's this coming out?
When's it come out? Sounds like a hoot.
You had a hack before, Benny. You got any other ones?
Oh, mate. 6 kids want to watch a movie and you're tired. Turn the aircon right up. Shut all the doors and windows.
Yep.
Make it super cold.
Yep.
And they will fidget and fidget and fidget and want to leave. And you go, well, you can only leave if you go to bed. Works every time.
That's actually really good.
See ya. Probably warmer in your room.
Freeze them out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gold.
But then you've got to tough it out yourself. It's a bit Baltic in there,
Yeah.
a tiny room. So you're hunkered under the. Jesus, it's getting hot in here.
Get the hoodie on.
Yeah.
I got a hoodie.
Why are you wearing a jumper, Dad?
I got the chills.
Yeah.
I got the flu. Get out. I got germs.
Yeah.
It's safe in your room.
Yeah.
Righto. Have you guys ever been working in the yard and you just like the kids just piss you off? They just like
Get
do
in your
everything
way.
they can to annoy you. They just like you dig a hole and they decide to fill it in. And like I was shoveling dirt and I was like making my OCD was killing me. Like I was making holes so it was easier to dig the next part and the kids would keep climbing on the pile and fucking it's like
Ruining your
collapsing on
angle
itself.
of repose.
Yeah, exactly. It was ruining everything. And anyway, I saw a cup full of paintbrushes on the sink when I went in for a beer and a healthy water. And there was I was like, oh, perfect. Everyone grab a paintbrush each. Here's a bucket of water. I want you to do the alphabet for me, or like paint the alphabet, and then when you're finished, I just want you to paint it over so the neighbours don't see it.
With water.
With water. So they spent an hour. It would have been an hour painting the fence with water.
That is
So a quick little dad hack if you're in the backyard.
Good
So
one.
yeah.
Time for shit dad moment of the week.
Boom! How good is this?
This is the point in the show that we know everyone looks forward to. So let's hear from you, Nick. What was your shit dad moment of the week?
I had it wasn't like super bad because it was only like a $50 bike, but Ollie, Mr. Six, I've said his name now. Ollie rode to school the other day for the first time ever. And buggered if I was like running or walking fast or doing any of that gear. So I rode the scooter. And when we got to school, he's like, you're gonna take my bike home, Dad? And I was like, guess so. Righto. And because I'd ridden the scooter, I wasn't gonna like carry both over my shoulders on the way home. So I've shafted his bike. His like $50 little Spider-Man bike, shafted it as far into the bush as I could get it, and his helmet and everything. And I was like, I'll go back in 20 minutes, and I'll go back in 20 minutes with the old car and pick it up. All good, no worries. I'll do it on the way to the shops. Anyway, gone to the shops. I was like, forgot his bike. So I had to leave the shops and go back and pick his bike up. So some little scummo didn't take it away. But yeah, that's my shit.
And it was still there.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was still there.
lucky.
So we were all good.
I nothing major happened this week, but I did remember something that happened, and it was a pretty shit dad moment. And this was with my daughter. Call back to about a year ago. You know, every kid has one of those comforter toys they sleep with. It's the one where they're like, you know, don't lose it.
Yeah.
If you lose anything else, it's fine, but this is the one thing, don't
Not
lose.
that.
We were at Toombul Shopping Centre and had her in the pram and went and got a haircut. It was great. First time she sat there and she was good while I did that. I went to the pet store and saw all the different animals. Had a great time. But then we would have been there maybe an hour or so. Realised that the bunny was no longer in the pram with her.
No.
Went around, you know, spoke to the people working there. No one's handed it in, couldn't find it or anything. And still to this day, so basically, long story short, lost the bunny. Wasn't seen. No one handed it in. We did have a backup in case that ever happened, which is also a good dad hack to do.
Backup bunny. Yeah.
But even to this day, she still says every now and then, she didn't really make too much of a fuss because she had the backup. But every now and then she just says, because we called it OG bunny because it was the original bunny, and and every now and then just goes, "Where's my OG bunny?" And just go, "Well, don't know what you're talking about. That's the OG," and point to it. She's like, "No, it's not." She knows.
Oh, she knows.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, advice is don't lose it, but if you do, have a backup.
Have a backup. We've got another one from Dan in Griffin. He's got a good one here. His daughter was about 1 year old and he was down washing the cars. The wife was sitting on the stairs with the young one. He needed some help, so he's called the old ball and chain over. That was his words, not mine. To help put Bub on the grass.
What does he mean?
Yeah. What you were talking about, sir. She's put Bub on the grass. Before we knew it, Bub had turned around. Oh, sorry, they had turned around and Bub was on the stairs, like halfway up. They've called out and they're like, "Oh shit." And she's turned around and fallen down he said it was only like 6 stairs.
Yeah.
But he said it was not funny at the time, but it's hilarious now. She's got no brain damage, so we're good. A few times I've woken up to her making herself a fresh bowl of choc chip ice cream or just going straight out of the tub. That's his other.
Oh, Jesus.
So she's a little handful, that one. Yeah, but,
Nice.
But yeah, don't leave your crawlable baby on the grass. But so Dan, congrats this week. You are the winner of our because you're unopposed this week. So yeah, you're the winner of our gift voucher to Smashing Fibers. So congratulations. And Greg Lowe last week. Wait, sorry, do you have any listener mail?
No, that was it.
Outstanding. Well, that worked out perfectly.
Thanks for sending that in, Dan.
Yeah. Cheers, Dan. And Greg from Griffin last week, also uncontested. You win another Smashing Fibers gift voucher. So congratulations, boys. Enjoy that. Righto. Benny.
Yes.
Let's wrap it. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
It's been my pleasure, gents. It really has been a good fun.
This has been really good, this one. Want to know, though, is there anything else any advice you can give or anything else you want to add to any blokes who are doing it tough?
Everyone's on their own path, but what would you say? How could I cast a pearl of wisdom? Keep the focus on the little ones. And be patient. Be very, very patient, and everything's going to happen for a reason. And make sure that you take the time out for yourself. And when things get hard, take a little bit of time to step away and just give yourself some care, because you do go through periods where you are just attacked constantly, and it becomes the common rhetoric that you just will listen to over and over again about how bad you are, how this, how that. And you've got that dichotomy of being told how bad you are, and then this little human looks up at you as this mountain that they love and adore and want them to protect them. And just remind yourself of that you need to take a little bit of time out to just remind yourself that you are a good parent and you are doing the right thing, and seek the help. And if anybody, wants to reach out to me for some advice or something like that, I'm more than happy to help. And I think, if you seek it out, you'll find it. And good luck to everybody going through it.
Brilliant. That's awesome, Ben. Cheers for that. Been a super guest. We've learned lots of stuff. And That's a really good story, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks
My
for sharing.
pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
What do you got, Cam?
I'll just say thanks for that. I think it's been great getting all different types of dads so far, and we're up to episode 8, and we're loving not just talking to blokes like us. I think that's really important. We want to get cast the net wide and talk to a whole heap of different types of dads. So yeah, really appreciate your honesty and sharing your story.
Awesome. Right, so listeners, if you are enjoying the pod, please press follow on wherever you listen to your podcasts, so that we can get some decent stats and know exactly how many people or a good range of people are following. Send your jokes, your stories, pictures, keep it PG if you can, to shitdadpod@gmail.com or our Instagram page, shitdadpod. Even tell us who you think would be a good fit for the show. Because like Cam said, we want to cast the net wide. Once again, thank you to Smashing Fibers for being our major sponsor, and also Black Property Group for giving us our recording space. We really appreciate it. But yeah, that's a wrap. Go crack a beer and turn off all the PowerPoints in the house, whether they're being used or not. Put your feet up and keep up the great work.
Thanks, guys.
See you, boys.